Hi guys, I hope you're all okay. Today we're here with Daniel Livori, the author of Roaming Hearts of Udaipur, and we're gonna speak to him a little bit about himself and his books. So, Daniel, how are you?
Sorry, sorry, the video froze for a second. And did you ask me?
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna start then. So, Daniel, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do?
Okay, so I am 22 years old. I am from Malta. It's for those of who don't know, it's a small island country in the Mediterranean between Italy and Libya. I am currently a master's student in the university, hoping to graduate next year.
Good luck with that.
And thank you. I enjoy reading and writing. Mostly it's been quite a hobby for a few years. I also like going out with family in natural areas and hope.
So
Yeah.
is that
I'm hoping to get a job related to environment.
to environment? Oh wow, that's so interesting. So how, if I mean your
Yeah.
career is clearly based in environment, how did you get into writing? Like, why did you decide to become a writer?
Oh, I am always was interested in environment, but writing was mostly just like a hobby that I came to love. I mostly because, for example, with exams, with English and Maltese, in my case as well, we used to have compositions and we have to come up with a story right there and then for the exam. And I always thought, this story is interesting. Maybe I think many people would like to read it. And I always was interested in one day maybe writing stories from there on. Yeah.
So can you,
Ironically, I was always yeah.
oh sorry, please
I
continue.
used to, my writing was a bit, um, I always had difficulty with writing when I was younger. It's actually was one of my most problematic parts, but mm,
I think everyone has that sort of phase, whether it comes innately or not. You have a little bit of a struggle with learning how to do it. But I've read your book now, and that's clearly not an issue anymore.
mm,
Right.
yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process, sort of where you get your inspiration from and how you start working on it?
So for mostly the beginning of an actual story, it's just one scene that randomly comes to my head. I'm usually just maybe walking or thinking of something and this scene just comes up. And then I maybe develop some things related to it. I try to avoid what it's common when I'm writing, maybe because usually or at least if there's something related to gender, I try to switch it around to give it another perspective that maybe some people might not know about. If I can give an example, um, so like normally most in this world, most people who are expected to convert for their loved ones would be women. So in my novel, I gave Karim, who is the male main character, the opportunity or just a thought to think about him doing it. I never actually, or him just even mentioning, "You're the woman. You're the one who should convert." I think you read that part. Remember it?
I did, I did.
Yeah. I try to focus also on the lesser known parts of the world. For example, with my country, it's not that well known. I don't really see it outside my own country's books, which is, or even television, doesn't really, not, not the best feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So when I write about some places, I either try to find a lesser known country, or with the case of India, which is not really unknown, a
Mm-hmm.
lesser known city.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So is that
But my writing is, yeah, it's mostly just random thoughts that come up and try to incorporate them.
mhm.
Yeah.
So is that why you decided to write Roaming Hearts of Udaipur? You wanted to write about Udaipur? Is there more to the story? Because I know it's a story about people from different religious backgrounds coming together and the hardships that they face based on that. So what made you really want to write the story?
At first, it was really different. They, it wasn't actually going to be in Udaipur at first. It was actually going to be in Varanasi.
Oh.
And I forgot why, because it was over a year ago. I forgot the actual reasons why it changed. Yeah, but I remember it was going to be originally in the other side of India. Um, so for, the original story was different. It was Hind Karim falling, or whatever the main character was going to be back then, liking a Hindu woman, which was obviously not a good thing in Islam because
Mhm.
of some issues, and he has to cover himself to go out secretly with her. That was the original idea. So I tried to bring my, the um, the idea of a boy having to cover himself in. That was the original idea.
Mhm.
And as soon as I learned more and more about India, I became more inspired to write this,
Mhm.
bringing some inspiration from real life stories.
Mhm.
And my main goal in writing is maybe to influence some people in real life, maybe to accept religious diversity, like in the novel,
Mhm.
of bring out real life situations and real life feelings into it to make hopefully that some people who relate will maybe feel more represented. And
Yeah. I think
yeah,
I
that's what.
I think that is really important to talk and write about underrepresented communities or places, like you said. So, have you actually ever been to Udaipur yourself?
Really been to India at all, which is surprising for many people who after they read the book.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
very true to the place. So I'm really surprised you haven't been, but I hope you get to go someday.
yeah, because most of the knowledge I got was from either talking to some locals or like research online. I used also videos from YouTube to be able to describe some
Mhm.
places and people, and also like with like most again surprised that I'm not from there because usually you just have to be there to be able to understand some things.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But it comes across really, really well. I mean, I can see why people would be surprised you aren't a local writing about it.
Yeah,
So, like you,
I put
sorry.
I was going to say I put a lot of research like with even climate because
Mhm.
our Mediterranean climate is complete opposite of whatever you find in India. So if someone wrote raining in July in Malta, I would think that this person doesn't know what they're talking about because that doesn't happen, for example.
Yeah, that's a lot of research then. So, like you mentioned, the story changed quite a bit from the beginning, and I know there were two editors involved in your manuscript, and there were quite a few plot suggestions and changes. So, how did you feel through the entire process? Like, did you ever envision your characters would end up where they are now?
The editing process with Pranika really went well. I think the suggestions given to me were actually helped the story become better. So for like some people who read the original version, they would say like this is half the original story
Mhm.
because I from my original one it's like the plot ended, and then another one started. Idea for that part to become its own second part later on. So I think that change really helped.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Other like situations, because I some parts of the plot were like there to it's distracts people from what actually happening. I had to remove some things, but it's okay. It made sense to me. It didn't really change the characters overall. Maybe I just put some more into Mahini and Amara, like their lives outside of what's happening in the plot, about that, and reduce a lot of friends into like from four to into two because that would make it easier to remember them. But all in all, I think it's actually become better and maybe more enjoyable.
Good. I'm glad you're happy where it ended up. So, speaking of, where do you get your characters from? Like, where do you get the inspiration for your characters from? Are they inspired by real people in your life? Do you make them up entirely in your mind?
I mostly I do make them up entirely, and to be honest, I don't know anyone who is like the characters I written. However, like for the parents of Karim, I mostly just a little bit from my family and a little bit from maybe some stereotypes here and there from Indian families, but just a little bit because I don't want to enforce stereotypes. But I try to portray the characters as realistically as possible, because like I made the parents maybe argue a little bit, but then again, they still love each other and stay together, like many parents. Try to make the characters a bit flawed here and there because that's how we are in real life. But other than that, they are I just came up with them without reference from other people.
Alternatively, then, has any of the scenes from the book been inspired from true events in your life?
Things not not much. I probably I've been not much of the things have been inspired like from my life, but I try to, because I haven't been in any romantic relationship, so I wouldn't be able to inspire like from what I my thoughts. But most of the things were like maybe inspired from things I've seen rather than what I have experienced, maybe from other friends or from films, or maybe other scenes that I have read from books as well.
That's pretty still realistic because I think everything is derived from reality at the end of the day, even if it's fiction. So that's great. So what, aside from romance, of course, what genre do you prefer writing and reading?
Um, I romance was really like the first try of my for writing, but I am inspired to try and write fantasy as well. I am reading a fantasy novel right now. It's in Maltese though, so I would be able to recommend it to many people.
What's it called though? I mean, if
Um,
other people want to read it.
it's I don't know if you can. It's Saba Tronjit Mewiya. It translates to the seven cursed pomegranates.
Oh wow,
Sorry, grapefruits.
that's an
Grapefruits.
interesting title.
Uh, Grapefruits, not pomegranates. Sorry, I have written an fantasy outline for now, and I have sent it to Akriti and Pranika, but they haven't gotten back to me yet.
Hmm.
So if I can maybe talk about what I've written, if you, well, I know that fantasy is sometimes more medieval European oriented, with the ones that are based on Earth, not the ones completely another world. So again, I'm trying to avoid what is popular and try to go to another way. Like the countries that I came up with are mostly in Africa or Western Asia. So
Mm-hmm.
like maybe an Ethiopian kingdom and North African.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to focus on those areas that don't really typically feature in fantasy, and so there's a variety of characters as well, like with and even because it's a fantasy, I brought on some mythological creatures to life, and I hopefully it will become a novel in the future.
Hopefully, yeah. I hope we all get
Yeah.
to read that. That sounds quite interesting. And again, yeah, you don't see a lot of fantasy in, I think, non-Western countries. It's very heavily dominated by Europe and UK, and I think this will be a great addition to the genre.
Thank you.
So, lastly, what are you currently reading, or what do you hope to read from Saga next?
I'm currently not reading anything because of I have to finish the library books first. But I'm hopefully going to read. What I read one of the free episodes from Varung's one of I the name the I forgot what's the name called from the 2020 virus book.
Ah,
What was it?
the novel virus.
The novel, yeah, yes. I have read the
Oh,
three episodes from that part, and it
yeah.
sounds quite interesting so far. And
Mhm.
I'm hopefully going to try reading the three episodes from the other part to see which one maybe I can try to read first.
Mhm.
I'm hopeful to read the Lady in the Manor. The plot sounds quite interesting from what I've
Mhm.
seen.
Mhm.
Also from my friend Spark's book. I known Spark before Saga. Like I said, I've read one of his books before he went to Saga, so I maybe see how he has improved.
It is.
I think yeah,
I would
your
like.
novel cover of your novel is quite interesting. Maybe I give that a read as well.
I would love that. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have. I'm sure you're aware. We have quite a huge list of books, and I hope you really enjoy reading them. And I hope we
Yeah.
get to see more of your books on our list. Um,
Yes.
yeah. And yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, Daniel. It was lovely to speak with
Thank
you.
you.
And hopefully, I'll see you soon again.
Thank you.